So I want to tell you about Kathy Meader, because I'm going to bring her up now. I spoke to Kathy back in 2007, and I go through a process when I become a server of a team, because at the end of the day, you're an advocate for the team. I asked 10 questions, and one of the questions I asked them, as I try to accelerate my understanding of the person, is what word or words do you want our team to be associated with? And let me tell you what she said. When we were supporting a channel community, trying to build a business in a channel community that was just getting started, she told me that she wants to foster partnerships versus build the business through our partners. In other words, if you treat partners right, good things are going to happen versus let's drive the business through our partners. That's the way she's wired. I said earlier, if you put a racehorse on a track, they're going to run. When a person is wired that way, they can't help it. That's how they're going to conduct themselves. So Kathy Meader is going to be working through this RSPA Academy to serve our members. And that's the reason she is here today. So I ask you, as we try to live to our trademark, where we are working very hard to be a trusted thought leader, driven to professionally serve our members as you thrive, I ask you to give our new Vice President of Education Member Services, Kathy Meader, a warm RSPA welcome.
Put your hands up in the air, put your hands up in the air. Put your hands up in the air, put your hands up in the air. Put your hands up.
Thank you very much, John. It's always good to hear what you wanted to be when you grow up. Welcome to Retail Now. Welcome to Nashville. I'm super excited to be here. As John mentioned, I just started with RSPA on May 29th. So Retail Now has been a priority for me since the day I walked through the door. It's been a huge priority for our team, and I feel like I have lived and breathed it these past few weeks. A little secret about me, although I've been in channel for 15 plus years, I've never actually attended Retail Now as a participant. So in all the preparation and hearing everything that goes on, I've literally felt like a little kid on waiting for Christmas to come. And here we are Monday morning, opening general session, and it's Christmas. It's Christmas morning. So we've got a great week planned, and we're all very, very excited that you're all here. One of the things that John touched on just a little bit is elevating the brand. We're elevating the RSPA brand. And this is different from just simply promoting a brand. We want to be something greater. And I believe the biggest opportunity we have to do that is through our member education services. So that's what I want to talk to you about a little bit today, is the education roadmap and the RSPA Academy. If we think about Retail Now and Inspire, those have traditionally been what the RSPA is known for. These are our flagship events, and we deliver 70 to 80% of our member education through these events. The planning for these events starts long before, weeks and months before. We have a wonderful education committee. I think Mark mentioned in his talk that we have very strong committees. The education committee, chaired by Shannon Reichert, has been working very hard over the past year. They've put a lot of thought into content. They've put a lot of thought into the format and the structure for this week so that you can maximize the time that you're here and get the most out of the education sessions that we're offering. So I'd like to thank Shannon and the Education Committee for all their work, because they were well into this when I arrived on the scene. So thank you, Shannon, and thank you to the Education Committee. John also mentioned the Retail Now faculty. It takes a lot to put on an event like this, and you absolutely have to have subject matter experts, the people who are willing to stand up and share their knowledge and teach our members. The content that you're going to see this week is excellent, and so I would like to take a moment, and if you are presenting this week during a breakout session, a panel discussion, if you're moderating a panel, any kind of breakout session, if you are presenting for us this week, please take a minute and stand up. This is your Retail Now faculty. So after this week, well, leading up to this week, we spent a lot of time with these folks in dress rehearsals. The past month, that's pretty much all we have done, is met with presenters. They've presented for us. We've given them feedback. They've listened. They've been honest with us about what the content should be. And so one thing that we consistently heard during all the presentations was, wow, there's so much information to share, and I could talk about this all day, and I wish I had more time. So as we build the RSPA Academy, we want to provide that extra time, the more education around the topics that we see at Retail Now. So if you think about Retail Now on one end of the calendar and Inspire on the other, both of those events give us the opportunity to do kind of a broad brushstroke, right? To touch on certain topics that are relevant for everybody and relevant for the industry. We have created semesters. So in between our two flagship events, the RSPA Academy will have semesters. And these semesters will hold educational opportunities in a number of topics, anchoring back to what was relevant at Retail Now and what might be relevant leading up to Inspire. When we get to Inspire in February, we'll then launch another semester. As you can see, we've identified some preliminary topics that we'll be focused on and providing educational opportunities around. The details on these, the registration, and all the information that I know you guys want to know will be available on the website towards the end of August on our website. But this gives us the opportunity to do the deep dives. This gives us the opportunity to involve more subject matter experts. We have very limited time over the next 3 days, and we want to be able to give you more information. We want to provide the education that's going to drive success. The RSPA Academy is going to have its own faculty. So this group of faculty, they're going to be different from just presenters or somebody who does a webinar or somebody who sponsors a webinar. As an organization, RSPA is looking for a faculty that will be an arsenal of subject matter expertise for us, as well as thought leadership. These folks will also work with us, as well as the Education Committee, in driving continuity in our approach to education and our content. The Education Committee has played an integral part in looking at education for this week, as well as what we're going to offer over the next 6 months, leading up to Inspire. They're the ones who provide us feedback with what's relevant, what's important, and how we should prioritize. The faculty will be an application process. You will be selected for the RSPA Academy faculty. That will also begin at the end of August. You will receive more information about that in the coming weeks. Why in the world would you want to be on the RSPA faculty? You have a day job. This will give you the opportunity to really become a trusted advisor in the community, to help coach your peers. It will give you name recognition. And although we always promote and we are very serious about a safe harbor and objective learning environment, with the trusted advisor and the name recognition comes the brand recognition. People will know who you are and where you come from. And finally, as you get involved with the Academy and you teach webinars, you facilitate panels on a regular basis, you have the opportunity for a different type of networking than you have here at Retail Now. It's a more intimate setting, it's more one-on-one, and you're able to form different relationships. So it's a good value for our members, and it's a good value for the association. Within the Academy, we also want to get creative and innovative about how we deliver education. Everybody loves a good webinar, right? Exactly. So we want to try some different ways of delivering education. You heard John mention a couple. I'm going to talk about a few in a minute. If you have specific engaging ways of delivering education in your organization, we want to hear about them. The more engaging and the more innovative we can be with how we deliver education, the more value we can drive. So we want to hear your ideas. Find me, find an RSPA staff member, tell us what you're doing. Call Shannon, talk to an education committee member. We definitely want to hear what everybody else is doing in terms of delivery. One of the different ways that we're going to approach education this year is through a series of regional events. Now, some of the feedback we received earlier in the year is that Retail Now is great, but people are looking for smaller and more frequent opportunities to get face-to-face with one another and network and learn. So as a result of that, we've created what we're calling regional events. These events are going to be one day, either morning agenda or 3/4 of a day agenda, drive in and drive out. This will allow our members to hopefully bring more team members to attend. And it will be a targeted region of the country with a targeted agenda for a specific segment of our membership. And once we have done the first one, which is scheduled for October, we will then move to different regions across the country and Canada. And we have the ability, based on the region, based on the feedback, we have the ability to drive change to the agenda, to the segmentation. It gives us a way to be creative, get out and mobilize the community, one of the things that John talked about. Technical boot camps, you also heard John mention that as well. Technical boot camps could be considered a type of regional event. The idea here is to have a 1 to 2 day summit for the technical teams within our member organizations. Bringing those folks together for a day or two of workshops, panel discussions, networking, and best practices sessions. An example of why we think that this works and why we've gotten feedback that this is a great idea from both the Education Committee as well as our board. You're going to see a lot of presentations this week regarding security. And this is a very wide, a big audience with wide and vast knowledge at different levels of the topic on security. These presenters have designed their presentations with that in mind. When you have a room full of implementation teams, support teams, and other technical teams, you can have a very different conversation about security. You can dive a little deeper, you can become more technical, and that's what we want to provide to your technical teams. We also want them to provide an opportunity for networking for them, sharing best practices, sometimes just getting people into a room and giving them the opportunity to talk and to share best practices can be extremely valuable. So that is the plan for Technical Boot Camp, and you will hear more about that in the months leading up to the end of the year, and we are targeting March of 2019 for that to have the inaugural event. Net Promoter Score. I don't want to talk too much about Net Promoter Score. John Kirk and I are doing a breakout session together this afternoon at 5 or Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. I'm sure most people would rather come at 5. But we are going to do a deep dive. We are going to be talking about growth through sidewalk marketing and customer loyalty. And it's basically talking about your internal sales base and your external sales base, or your internal sales team and your external sales team. And that's where we'll go into a lot of detail. I can tell you this, we have launched our first ever member loyalty survey. We sent that out. We have a baseline now for what our NPS score is. And more importantly, we have developed 2 to 3 strategic initiatives that are going to drive continuous improvement in those areas. One of them is clear value proposition for membership in the organization, and the other is higher quality education offerings. We are also, during our session, going to explain to any attendees or any members who are there who might not be employing a type of loyalty survey or loyalty data in their organization, how we did it. We're going to use our own experience as a case study that we look at, and how to very easily get started. And we even have some one-pagers with tools, tips, and resources to use. So that's in our session, my session with John. The member loyalty survey went out, I believe, in June. We will establish a regular cadence for a member loyalty survey, 1 to 2 times a year. I would challenge you when that comes through your email. I know we all get inundated with emails on a daily basis. If you want more from the association, if you think we need to be doing things differently, or if we can serve you better in some way, complete that survey. It's only 6 questions. It's very simple, but it is tremendously valuable to us as we review our strategy and our initiatives going forward. Finally, global expansion. I want to talk a little bit, John mentioned it, I want to talk a little bit about it as our immediate actions. So, hyper-globalization, that's a big buzzword nowadays. We are a global organization. RSPA is global. We have over 100 members who are registered for this event attending from other countries outside the US. Some as far as Australia and China. So we are a global organization. What we want to do is expand that footprint by leveraging the expertise of our international members who are established in countries where we want to go, and by leveraging the expertise of our members who do business in those countries where we want to go. So You will hear more about this as the year progresses. We had our first advisory task force committee meeting yesterday morning here in Nashville with the intention of working over the next 4 to 6 weeks to put together a proposal to submit to the board on the initiative and exactly what the next steps are to expand our global footprint. So I've covered a lot in a little bit of time. We're elevating our brand. Again, we're not promoting it, we're elevating it. And one of the key ways we are going to do that is through our educational opportunities for you. We are going to offer segmentation within the education. It's not one size fits all. We know that, and we'll address that. We're going to drive higher quality in what we deliver, which will provide more value add. And we're going to provide, just in general, more educational opportunities. Next to networking in education is the #1 reason why people join the RSPA. And we will be greater in the area of education. So, again, welcome. We're excited that you're here. We're ready. The education committee is ready. The staff is ready. Enjoy your week. Thank you very much. And I'd like to welcome back to the stage John Kirk.